Hello, I'm Al Holtham. I'm going to show you the superb SP6000 plunge cut saw from Makita. This has some really neat features that allow you to make clean and precise cuts in a wide variety of different materials. You can obviously use it freehand, but it becomes even more versatile if you team it with a guide rail system. With the SP6000 you get flexibility and performance. So let's take a closer look. The tool is a powerful 1300 watts, but the rubberized non-slip coating on the handles gives you a firm grip for maximum control, and it also minimises vibration. The cutting capacity at 90 degrees is a healthy 56 millimeters, and this reduces to 40 millimeters at 45 degrees. The large two-finger trigger is easy to operate even if you have to work it with gloves. The key feature of this saw though is the plunge action. Simply press this plunge button and the saw pivots down to a depth that you can predetermine. It can't plunge unless the button is depressed, which is a good safety feature. The depth stop has a graduated scale that you can set very precisely, so you can make plunge cuts through your work without damaging the underlying material. Now have a look at this secondary depth stop here. This is really neat. Just slide it across and the saw will now only cut 2 millimeters deep when you use it on the guide rail, which is perfect for making a scoring cut. Now release the stop and make the full depth cut. And you can see no chipping on either side, even on veneered surfaces like this. Bevel adjustments are just as easy. The scale is really clear. The locks at either end of the saw ensure it clamps up tight and it doesn't creep. The normal bevel range is 0 to 45 degrees, but you can engage a positive stop at 22.5 by twisting this knob here. If you need to overcut the angles a fraction for a really tight joint, slide this button over and you can then tilt the saw a further 3 degrees up to 48 degrees. If you need to tilt to the left a fraction, push these latches in to allow you to get -1 degree. These latches also ensure you can zero the saw back positively to the 0 degree position. Just listen to that. The blade is 165 millimeters in diameter, and the one supplied with the saw has 48 teeth to give a fine cut in most materials. Of course, you can fit different blades for finer cuts in timber, or specialised blades for cuts in materials like corian or even non-ferrous metals like aluminium. The good thing about this saw is the blades are very easy to change. I'll show you. Start by making sure the saw is unplugged. Then twist this button to lock the saw spindle down to make it accessible through the guard. The end of the motor is squared off so you can lay the saw horizontal, which makes the whole process much easier. Use the Allen key that's fitted in the handle to slacken off the nut, holding the spindle with this lock here. Undo it all the way. Lift off the collar and the blade should then just slide out. It really is as easy as that. Dust extraction is often difficult on portable saws, but on the SP6000 there's a very efficient extraction path and a nozzle that swivels so you can position the hose in the most suitable place. The electronics on this saw are state of the art, with a really smooth, soft start, which makes it much easier to begin a cut because the saw doesn't jump. You'll also notice how effective the brake is. The blade stops really quickly, which is another valuable safety feature. A variable speed dial allows you to match the blade speed to the material you're cutting. It gives you a range from 2000 to 5200 RPM, so you can cut any wood-based material or slow it down for plastics or non-ferrous metals. The constant speed electronics maintains full revs even under load, but an internal overload protector switches the tool off to prevent any damage to the motor should you accidentally push it too hard. The SP6000 really comes into its own when you use it with a guide rail. You don't have to worry about marking any offset as you would with a conventional saw on a straight edge. Just lay the track down on the line and make the cut. It's as simple as that. Rubber strips on the underside of the rail are enough to hold it in place. But for really critical cuts, you can use the optional clamps for total security. The saw just drops onto the track and it'll stay in place. But use this slide lever to secure it and prevent it toppling over if you're making bevel cuts. Look at that. It's not going to fall off the guide rail, which is a problem you often get with many of the competing saws. The saw slides smoothly and easily, but you can adjust the resistance if you want it a bit tighter with these two dials. This is sometimes useful when you're cutting thin material. What is really clever is that the precision bevel cutting system ensures that the cutting line always remains in the same position regardless of the bevel angle. So it'll save you time and it makes setup so much easier. For internal cuts, you can just plunge the saw into the work anywhere. It doesn't have to start at an edge. For an accurate start, line up the indicator on the rear of the blade guard with the start of the cut. Plunge into maximum depth and cut along the line until the indicator mark lines up with the stop point, but do allow the saw to stop before removing it from the cut. The slim blade guard allows you to cut within 18mm of the edge, so you can get really close to wall for cutting floorboards, for instance. Guide rails are available in two different lengths, 1.4 and 3 meters. The 3 meter rail is perfect for cutting down 8x4 sheets, and they can be joined together with special couplers if you need anything longer. There are special adapters that allow you to fit other tools onto this guide rail, such as a jigsaw, a router, or even a conventional circular saw. Take a look at this mitre adapter as well. This makes it so easy to use the track for angled cuts. So that's the Makita SP6000 plunge saw, along with the guide rail system. A saw with some truly unique features. And of course, being Makita, it's professional quality and built to the highest standards. You'll be impressed. Till next time, bye bye for now.